Hello, my friend. I'm so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology and the upcoming new moon in Scorpio. In this week's episode, I'll be diving deep into this new moon in Scorpio chart for you. I will also be sharing an interview, my first interview on this podcast, with my client, NAVEEDA Darwish, who is an amazing realtor in Toronto, and how she uses astrology for her business. I will then end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of. So let's just dive right into it. Starting off with the transits of this week, we have Mercury now in retrograde. It did begin its retrograde on the 9th. So we're going to be feeling this Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius until the 19th, and then it will retrograde back into Scorpio, and then it will end its retrograde in the sign of Scorpio on the 29th of November. I go through the major themes of this Mercury retrograde in last week's episode, so go watch that if you haven't already. I also have your VIP horoscopes out for your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, your stellium. So if you want to dive deep into how this Mercury retrograde will affect you specifically, go check out those horoscopes. I'll leave a link to those. So this week, just be prepared that things can get delayed. There can be some miscommunication. Things get a lot messier with a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius because Mercury is uncomfortable in the sign of Sagittarius. So just take note of this because it can just feel a bit trickier in terms of getting your message across to someone. You could feel as though you're trying to rethink a lot when it comes to your spirituality, higher education, travel, as well as what you believe is your perspective on life and the world. So there can be a lot of themes that come across with this Mercury retrograde, and you're kind of redefining what freedom means to you. So on November 11th, we have a Jupiter retrograde in the sign of Cancer. This is going to be a time when you're kind of really reflecting on your growth, what that looks like to you, what this means in terms of your family, what you want in terms of your family life. Jupiter retrogrades, you're not going to feel as much as Mercury retrogrades or Mars retrogrades or Venus retrogrades because Jupiter is an outer planet. It is a generational planet. So you're not going to have this huge shift. However, you could still feel it subtly. Now, the benefits of a Jupiter retrograde is you can really reflect more on your own internal growth process, what this has looked like for you. How have you been emotionally taking care of yourself? What does that look like? Are you regulating your nervous system? Are you processing the emotions you have? Wherever Jupiter is transiting your chart currently, that will be the major theme for you in terms of this reflection period. I will say if you are a Cancer rising, Sagittarius rising, or a Pisces rising, you're going to feel the retrograde a lot more. And this is because Jupiter is currently in the sign of Cancer, so it will affect Cancer placements, especially Cancer risings. It will also affect Sagittarius risings because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Pisces risings because Jupiter traditionally rules Pisces. So keep this in mind because this is going to give you a really good perspective shift in terms of reflecting more on what you actually believe in. What does that look like to you, especially in terms of your spirituality? Jupiter retrogrades are also a really good time to go back to studying something that you were interested in before, or if you are just really trying to figure out how can I expand my growth in terms of this topic? Can I dig deeper into a course I've purchased or with a mentor I've worked with in the past? Now on November 12th, we have Mercury conjunct Mars in the sign of Sagittarius, and Mercury is currently retrograde during this time. So this day can feel like a lot. It can just feel very busy. This can still feel very exciting. You could feel like you're catching up with old friends. You could feel like you're learning something new at this time. You could be traveling at this time. I just want to give you a heads up. If you are traveling, just anticipate that there can be some delays. There can be just a lot of communication. It could just feel very busy this day. However, I really still like Mercury conjunct Mars in Sagittarius. I really see this as kind of redefining what kind of action you want to take, especially when it comes to your spiritual growth, travel plans, higher education. This is a really good day to connect with people from your past. I will say that because you could just feel like everyone is very excited, people want to have fun. It could just feel like it's a very lively event. However, the dark side of this energy is if people are not in a good place, then old resentment can come up during this time. And you can see some people just give an outburst in terms of anger, in terms of aggression, in terms of anything that they're trying to hold on to that they have to let go of. Keep this in mind. I will say whatever you can do to kind of just process what you're feeling this day and to not overwhelm yourself. Do not overbook yourself this day. You're going to want to. You're going to get a lot of messages. It could just feel a little bit overwhelming, but whatever you can do to not overbook yourself and to just pace yourself, that is going to be super beneficial. Now, I want to dive into this new moon in Scorpio for you because it is taking place on November 20th, which is next week. But I want to give you a heads up on this energy because we're going to start feeling the buildup of this new moon. So this new moon in Scorpio is taking place at 28 degrees of Scorpio. It's taking place on November 20th at 1:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what's really important to note with this new moon in Scorpio is it's a very shocking new moon. Expect the unexpected with this new moon energy. I'm saying this because this new moon is opposing Uranus in Taurus. So this feels very unpredictable. This feels like a great breakthrough that you could potentially get, especially around your finances, especially around your self-worth, your self-value, or even just healing modalities and what you're still processing from the past. However, this also looks like some disruptions. You could just feel like something comes out of left field for you and you have to deal with it. You could feel as though there's something here where it's a bit frustrating and it feels as though you've been thrown through a loop. So keep this in mind. I will say there is some very beneficial energy with this new moon in Scorpio though. I think it's very, very lovely. We have Jupiter in Cancer in a trine to Saturn in Pisces. We also have this new moon in a trine to Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer. So we have this grand trine in the sky, in water signs, and this looks so emotionally supportive. So yes, something or someone could be trying to throw you off. However, you have some really good support at your side. You have some really good support when it comes to spiritual partnerships. You have some really good support when it comes to friends that help you with your emotions, perhaps just having someone to talk things through with. You have support in terms of your home and family in some form. Maybe you just feel like your room is super cozy. Maybe you just feel like you can connect with someone at home in some way, or you're in a good place when it comes to taking care of yourself and really understanding, okay, what do I need right now? How can I nurture myself right now? So traditionally, the moon is uncomfortable in the sign of Scorpio. So be prepared that this can be an emotional new beginning for you. New moons are all about new beginnings. This will affect you very differently based on your rising sign and your sun sign. I do have horoscopes for these on your VIP membership, so you can go check those out. Yet I want to prepare you that with a new moon in Scorpio, this looks like there's still something that you haven't processed. Scorpio moons tend to hide their emotions from themselves because they feel so much. It's a very intuitive placement. Yet when we have this transit in the sky, when we have the new moon in Scorpio in the sky, you could feel like you want to be more secretive with how you feel. You could feel like someone else is being more secretive. You could feel as though there's so much to process subconsciously, maybe things from your past, and you're trying to let it go. However, there's still things that you need to uncover. And the interesting thing too is with a new moon, we're not seeing the full picture yet. We're not seeing the full story. This is because the sky is dark during a new moon, and we won't have clarity until a full moon. So keep this in mind. I do think that some old wounds around your sense of worthiness can come up right now, especially around being seen, because Jupiter in Cancer is still in a square to Chiron in Aries. Jupiter is now currently retrograde for this new moon in Scorpio chart. So there's something here where we're still processing some old pain, some old hurt. And with this, we're learning to see and to nurture ourselves through those dark periods from the past. What have you repressed from the past? This is when it could potentially come up right now. I do want to give you a heads up on this. Now, when we're talking about this new moon in Scorpio, I do want to talk about this axis because we have Uranus in Taurus and we have this new moon in Scorpio. We also have the sun in Scorpio. We also have Venus in Scorpio, and we also have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio at the time of this new moon. So there's something here where there's something from the past that you're processing in a different way. You could be having a conversation with someone about an event that happened in the past that you thought you were over and done with. And then you start to realize, okay, there's still something I need to let go of. Or you could have a different perspective shift. You could realize something new about a past situation. And I'm saying this because of the Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun and moon at this time. So Mercury is at 28 degrees as well. So this is a cazimi happening in the sky, which is a conjunction between the sun and a planet. So this is a Mercury cazimi. With this, we're gaining clarity on a past situation. This could be a past situation from a few weeks ago, but it could also be a past situation from 2018. And I'm saying 2018 because this was the last time we had a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio and Sagittarius. So this is really, really interesting. You're seeing a new perspective. You're processing things from the past, and it can feel a little bit emotional. It can be very moody. Mercury in Scorpio likes to be secretive, but it's also very investigative. Now, the axis between Taurus and Scorpio, I really see this as the axis between the subconscious mind and the material world. How are you processing things beneath the surface? How are you understanding energy? And how does this directly correlate to tangible real world events and real world results? So this is still a really lovely new moon to manifest with, I will say that. And I'm saying this because this new moon is still in a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, which is quite lovely, very supportive of transforming your goals when it comes to technology and community. But it's also very supportive because Jupiter is still in this beautiful trine to Saturn in Pisces, and that looks really supportive of setting intentions for the long term. What is stable and grounded for you in the long term? What is going to make you feel emotionally safe? So I'm still really loving this new moon in Scorpio. If you want to manifest for this new moon and you want to discover how it's going to affect your chart specifically, and also how you can set intentions for the next 6 months, specifically using this new moon, then come join me and the Moon Sign Creative community for our new moon in Scorpio manifestation event. This is honestly going to be such a healing new moon ritual. I can't wait for it. It is happening on November 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Replays are available if you can't make it live, but I just can't wait to manifest in community because your manifestations are amplified in community if you are setting intentions with other people who are doing the deep inner work just as much as you. And I will let you know that people have already started to see some results from their manifestations during the full moon in Taurus, which only happened 2 weeks ago. So I am super, super excited to see the growth of the community and how your manifestations are coming together during this ritual and for months afterwards. So those are our transits for this week. I also want to let you know that I have released 2026 readings. I am super, super excited for them. I think there's only 2 spots left by the time of this recording for 2025. So if you want to get prepared for your year ahead and you want to really understand the major themes of your life in 2026 based on your birth chart. You can get a 2026 reading. I'll leave a link to that down below if you're interested. And getting into this week's topic, I am super, super excited for this interview that I did with NAVEEDA Darwish, who is one of my Boldest You mentees and honestly such an amazing realtor in Toronto. So I'm super, super excited to share this interview with you.
All right. I am super, super excited to do this interview today. Joining us today is NAVEEDA Darwish, a Toronto realtor whose Aries Sun Drive, Scorpio Moon Depth, and Libra Rising Charm make her the perfect mix of confidence, intuition, and wit in both business and life. Thank you so much for joining me, NAVEEDA. I'd love to hear more just about you and your story. I know we've worked together for almost 2 years now, which is amazing.
Yeah,
It's
it's crazy how fast time flies by. Like it's insane.
it is, and I'm just so excited to just share your work with everyone on the podcast. I'd love to first hear more about you and how you got into the industry.
First of all, thank you so much, Tati, for having me. I'm so excited to have just sort of like a little chit chat. How I got started in the industry. Oh my goodness. I've been working since I was like 14, 15 probably. And one thing led to another, and eventually I was in my 9 to 5 corporate job as a recruiter in the recruitment industry. And what started off like something so amazing ended up being not where I wanted to stay after like 7 years. It took 7 years to get away from it. But it was the lessons that I learned from that, from my 9 to 5, like working for other people. You know, you pour your heart and soul, at least, well, that's kind of how I take anything that I do. I kind of pour my heart and soul into it. I put my best foot forward. But it was just one of those things where, you know, you start to dread Mondays and you start to dread the phone calls that are happening and you start to question yourself. And it's like, is this what I really want to be doing? And in the middle of it all, I was also buying my first place. And the two kind of happened at the same time where I was reflecting on my experience of my buying journey. And I was like, no offense to the realtor that I used. He's a wonderful person. But I was just like, I could do a way better job than this. I'm already in sales. This is all I've been doing my whole life. And I needed to get away from the thing that was making me so unhappy, which was my job, you know, and I wasn't able to make the impact that I wanted to in the world. Yes, or helping people get new jobs, but the industry itself was a little bit toxic. And I'm just like, that's not what I came to this world to do. I didn't come to add to the problems. Came to help people. That's what I feel is my mission. And so I thought, okay, why not take my skills? Why not take the things that I'm really good at and apply to something else where I can actually help people? Um, and that's sort of like the short of it all.
I love that so much. And I just want to point out for viewers listening, because they're all into astrology, but when you mentioned 7 years in terms of your previous job, that is like a Saturn square. That is this uncomfortable pressure of, oh my God, I need to make a change right now. And I really love that you said, I want to take those lessons and bring it forth to the next opportunity. And the fact that you witnessed, oh, I can do this. This is amazing. And you have the skill set for being a realtor and you have all this experience in sales. So I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was very interesting. You mentioned 7 years exactly, but I
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was years in the making, but you know, one thing I say is like, I guess you're not ready until you're ready, and that's the motto I apply with my clients. Like, you got to be ready on all aspects to take that jump or that leap of faith. And I guess at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm done. We're just gonna move forward. I'm betting on myself, and we're gonna figure it out. And here we are. It's like gonna be, oh my God, it's gonna be like 5 years next year, I think. As a realtor, it's like, holy moly, how fast time flies by.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm so curious to hear more about this because also I would just want to say like your Aries energy really shines through. I've when we first met, I'm like her Aries energy is real. It's so magnetic, it's so powerful. And I'd love to hear more about your life's journey in terms of how this kind of affected your decision in terms of being a realtor, of like seeing that opportunity and realizing, actually, I can do this. But what do you feel led you up to that point, even before that
Yeah.
previous job?
So my family and I were originally from Afghanistan, and we had to leave our country. Unfortunately, as many terrible things around the world happen, and we were refugees in Pakistan before coming here. So, kind of like losing your home, losing your community, and being somewhere where you don't always feel safe, or you're always kind of feeling like, I don't know, can I be myself fully? It's all these things that affect you as a little kid, right? Like I was just a child when all these things happened. And then when we moved here, I'm going to age myself. I'm like, I always forget how old I am until I think about the math. And I'm like, we came here when I was almost 12 years old. That's like 26 years ago. It's going to be 27, I think, at the end of this year. We came like 2 days before 1999. And again, same thing. You have to refigure yourself out here as a kid because now the world that you knew is not what it is here. Like one of my first day of classes, the teacher gave us a French pop quiz, and I'm like, I've never even heard of French. Like, what do you want me to do? So you feel so out of place, and as you kind of grow up, as I started to grow up, I kind of wanted to just get back into my community and wanted to get back into my roots, and so when I was thinking about my 9 to 5 in the recruitment industry, Canada's a wonderful place, but there's always racism and sexism and all these things, they exist. We can't pretend that they don't. Um, and they exist very much in the corporate world. There's always code words for what the client was requesting, and it just like eats away at your soul. And you're just like, I'm a girl, I'm a minority, I don't speak English as a first language. English is my second or my third language, right? And you're hearing all these requests, and I'm like, my name is NAVEEDA Derwish. Like, it's not the most Caucasian name. And so then now you're feeling out of place in your workplace too, because now you're like, so there was always this sort of like, I don't quite belong here. I'm not really there. And then I'm watching, $1 million listing, and I'm seeing my experience, and I'm hearing about other people's experience. And I'm like, no, as a realtor, I really can do so much. Yes, I'm amazing. I'm great at sales. So that's fine, whatever. But I can really help people find a place that they feel like they can belong. And I can really help people set some roots, and I can help clients make some smart financial decisions. Like my parents and my family were very risk averse. So we came at a time where real estate was probably free. We didn't have money, but eventually everybody worked hard. Everybody did their own stuff. My parents worked nights, my brothers worked days, and we were in a tiny little apartment trying to build our new roots in our new home. But I always wish we had people who were there to help us think about how it works here and not how it works back home. So it's from like my life experiences and wanting to see other people succeed. And like we've talked about this, where I'm like, my ideal client is not someone who's already really rich. Like I don't really, money is great. You need it to have fun stuff and do fun things and live life. Like we live in that society, but I just get so happy when I hear my clients be so happy when they say, "Oh my God, I'm so happy. Like I did this. I'm so happy you pushed me to do this." I had someone who didn't even use me, but because she moved like 4 or 5 hours away, but she messaged me. She was like, "You made me believe that I could do this. And if you didn't push me to think about this, I wouldn't have become a homeowner." And, there's some satisfaction in that you kind of just don't get from anything else.
I love that. I love your story so much. I think it's such a beautiful sentiment in terms of just where you came from in terms of Afghanistan and then moving to Pakistan, and then also just realizing, okay, feeling like you didn't have a home at that time and searching for home and that idea of home, what that means for you. And that common theme is now what you do for your day job of, okay, I want to help people find a home and create a home that feels very nourishing, that feels very safe, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like that's something maybe you didn't feel when you were younger, potentially,
No.
or
And even, I mean, like when we came, shortly after we came, 9/11 happened, right? So suddenly your world is different. And then we moved from Toronto to a very small town. We ended up moving to Orangeville, which Orangeville at that time, like, I think we only had, like, I was definitely the only or probably the first Afghan person they had ever met. um, Definitely got into a argument on the first day of like social studies class over racism, because here you are in a school and it's all predominantly white people, and you have a couple of black people that everybody knows, and then this big thing happens, and now it's the first school year back after 9/11, and you're new in high school in grade 10 meeting new people, and so you kind of sometimes like have to blend in, right? And I mean, being a refugee and stuff like that, you have to figure out how to belong. You have to figure out how to belong, even if it's internally you don't feel it, externally you have to show that you're part of it. It's the safety thing, right? And I think like it's such a sad way to live life if you have to do that forever. Um, and so, yeah, I get to be like, I'm so lucky to be part of people's big milestones. Sometimes the life that they built in the city is something that they've outgrown, and suddenly they need to move to the suburbs because that's what makes sense. And, I get to help them do that.
oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I think it also just speaks so well. I'm just gonna pinpoint like a few specific things I realized in your chart in terms of this too, because just the safety aspect of being a Scorpio moon, which can be a bit more intense for a lot of people. It's the
Like,
moon is
which part of me is like the Aries is intense, the Scorpio.
it just feels like, okay, like, when we spoke so much about the safety aspect, but what's really interesting with the Scorpio moon, like, you have that gift of intuition, of feeling as though you can connect with someone or understanding the underlying themes that are present, such as racism, sexism, being able to sense it, of course, and see it and witness it, and your Aries sun calling it out when it is necessary and very essential. And what I also love when you mentioned just getting into this industry too is your Cancer midheaven, which really represents your career and public image. So the fact that Cancer is your midheaven, that in itself is so beautiful in terms of finding a home. Cancer is a sign where it really is looking for comfort and security in terms of this, and really represents like the ideal situation for a home life that feels emotionally secure and safe. So then your moon being the ruler of this, you're trying to help people feel more safe at home, look for that sense of belonging that feels a bit more emotionally nourishing. But then I just feel like I just wanted to point this out because I just love drawing connections to your chart and what you speak of, because just the fact that you're so connected and trying to connect more in terms of your community, the Afghan community in Toronto, but then also immigrants, also people who are people of color or anyone who is a minority. It really is so inspiring to see and witness, and also just a really good take on how we need more of that right now. Like, we really need community now more than ever.
We really do. I think like the internet has made us so brave to say the things that we want to, and lately, a lot of people like cut this person off, cut that person off. Unfortunately, the world is not black and white. We have to sometimes find middle ground. There's a lot of things that we can disagree on. Some things are, of course, a hard no. We can disagree on them, but a lot of things we have to listen to the other side, and they have to listen to us, because that's how understanding happens. So if we're just quick to cut people off and be like, you don't belong here, you don't know what you're talking, no, there's times I want to do that, yes. But so we do have to, we need to start listening to why people are the way they are. We have to understand that. The world is in turmoil, of course. It always has been. I think it's definitely come more to light these days. But this is where I think, yeah, like you said, we really need to start opening up our ears and actively listening, because people don't leave their home unless they have to.
Yeah.
People don't give up everything they know to move somewhere unless they really need to. And most of us that are here as immigrants, it doesn't matter where you're from, most of us work very hard to come here. Like, my parents worked incredibly hard. Even growing up, I actually never realized how poor we were. Like, I knew my parents were working all the time. I didn't really get to see them a lot. Like, not that they neglected me, but I knew they had to go work and pay bills, and my brothers worked, and I did what I could as in my responsibility as a family. But we all work very hard. We give up a lot. I grew up without my cousins. I've grown up without my aunts, my uncles. So you find a different family. And I think, who doesn't want to hug their grandparents all the time? Who doesn't want to hug their uncles? And it's very rare that people don't want to be with their family. So yeah, I think we all need to understand why and how we've all ended up here. And that would make the world a better place, because it's easy to take out your resentment on the other, the outsider.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love that perspective. I feel that is such a beautiful way of just expressing to, like, we have different perspectives. Again, your Libra rising, of seeing that and being able to see a different perspective of wanting that understanding and wanting to connect. And I know we share that in common as we're both Libra risings.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious too, just based on your experience and based on your story as well, going into the realtor business and just helping people find a home or selling their home. I'm curious, what do you wish people knew about your industry?
Oh my goodness. The industry is so misunderstood, I think, both from clients' perspective and like potential people who maybe even want to be realtors, because everybody watches $1 million listing or selling sunset or whatever Lux listings. And I have to remind people, the TV of magic in food cooking shows applies very much to real estate shows. A deal doesn't get done in 5 seconds. A house doesn't magically sell by itself. You need someone who is going to be really putting time and effort. I have clients who sometimes are like, honestly, I don't even know what you did, but you made it really easy. And I was having this conversation with one of my clients, where I was like, I don't like to update people every 5 seconds with all the work that I'm doing behind the scene, but sometimes I feel like maybe I should, because I put in so much work and I make it look easier. I make it look like it just was a quick phone call, but it takes a lot of calls. It takes a lot of preparation. If there's a listing, I'm there often to make sure that the painting is getting done, the contractors are doing whatever they need to do, that the staging looks good. When the photos come out, if the photos are not good, getting those redone. If the marketing doesn't look right, getting that done. Like, I'm a one-person show essentially, right? Like, I'm not part of 20, 30, 40, 50 agents. And even if you are part of that, all the same things apply. There's a lot of coordination. You have to call the other agent, get feedback. In this market especially, you really have to be on top of it. Like, especially when it comes to listings, you really need to make sure that you're not just posting on MLS, because I think a lot of people think that's what people do. And don't get me wrong, being in Toronto in the GTA real estate market, where there's like 80,000, at one point it was almost 95,000 realtors, there's a lot that don't do the things that I do. There's a lot that don't do what some of us do, but as a consumer, you have to ask your realtor questions. You have to ask your realtor questions. What are the services that they're doing for you? How many open houses are they going to do for you? Some people just do an open house the first weekend and then they say, it doesn't really do anything. There's tactics to open houses. Like, well, what's your strategy? What does your videos look like? Some people say they do videos, and then I see the video and I'm like, it's a slideshow. That's not a video tour, right? So, okay. Or it's a video that nobody watches. I had this situation a couple of years ago. I had my regular person wasn't available to work that weekend for my photos and videos. And I was like very specific with sort of like the style that I was looking for. And I sent some examples. And then when the person sent me my videos, I was like, I, as a realtor, couldn't get past 5 seconds of my own listing video. This is not going to work. Like, I need you to edit it and fix it. And then I got more of the same, and I literally had to go and hire a different videographer. Most people won't do that because we also invest a lot of our own money up front, those of us who care. So my same advice also goes to realtors who want to get into the industry. It's a lot of work. It's a sales job. You have to be out and about. You have to put yourself out there. If your only tactic is to drop your commission or to give people money back from your paycheck, I'm sorry, but you're in the wrong line of business. Like, I can't imagine working 40 hours and then at the end of it being like, thank you so much for hiring me. Here's half my paycheck back. Like, that's essentially what it is, right? Like, can you imagine? Thank you for hiring me. As a courtesy, I'm going to give you half my, what? So so I really encourage people to look beyond what they see on TV and talk to realtors, whether you're hiring them or wanting to be one. Talk to people who are in the business and ask them what it looks like.
Yes. I honestly, I love that so much. That was so useful because even the fact that you said, if a realtor's selling point is that they're going to give you back money, what is kind of missing is, the person who is maybe selling their home could have made much more money if they hired a realtor who could, stage it properly or do like multiple open houses if need
Yeah.
or is able to actually sell the home in a well-rounded way. So that's the interesting thing where people are missing the point of like, oh, maybe I'm getting a bit of money back, but they're losing actually some money on the table if they're not actually selling the house in an aesthetic way. And I also want to mention like the fact that you're so attuned to aesthetics too. I love it from your chart because as again, you're a Libra rising, you have your chart ruler as Venus in Pisces, which is exalted in terms of this, meaning that it just loves being there. So your aesthetics really do set you apart from other realtors. And I've seen this through your branding. We've worked a little bit on your branding together too. And just in terms of how it is so, so different than other realtors and how this really allows you to be seen differently and allows your homes to get sold and also just really help your clients.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, sometimes I think I'm like too particular, but I don't know, it just drives me crazy when things aren't done right. Like, of course, I want my clients' homes to be sold, or leased or whatever, but I always tell my clients, like, as much as it's your home, it's also my image and my brand. So it has to look right. It has to be right because when other realtors come to a listing that I have, they already know it's going to be spotless. It's going to smell nice. It's going to be clean and probably painted. And if it's a landlord I'm working with, the landlord's going to be a nice and normal human being, not a slumlord. And that they're going to be priced well. Like, I don't think I've ever heard someone come into a listing that I've had and be like, oh, what was that? Like, because I have to protect my own image. Like, yes, there's a lot of us, and Toronto is the big city, but at the end of the day, it's not. Like, those of us who work, those of us who care about our clients, we know one another, we work with one another, and that's the part of my job that like I love. Like, I make my job easy by working hard before it goes live.
I love that. I love that so much. It honestly, I think just realizing that your perspective in terms of the industry is very, very different. And it kind of leads me into my next question about how did you get into astrology? Because I feel like it was so unique of you as a realtor to hire an astrologer and a brand strategist in terms of, this Boldest You mentorship that we were working together on.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, like, what made you first get into astrology?
Um, I've kind of like always been into it just as like for funsies. And of course, like I don't think that years and years of data are just useless, like it has to make sense. I always tell people like we're 70% water. You cannot tell me that when there's a full moon and it's so close to the earth that it can affect the ocean, but not us. And we're like, uh, I just don't believe that it wouldn't. There has to be something, maybe not everything in your life, but some of it. And I kind of, when I started off in astrology, all I was reading about was like only my Aries sun, and that's it. And I was like, I mean, who cares about the rest of the astro? Who cares what's happening to everybody else? Like, let me just see what's. And I'm still kind of like, I'm still kind of like that. But now, like, I read a little bit more about my Scorpio moon, and I read a little bit more about my Libra rising, and it's kind of interesting, to sometimes reflect back to certain periods and be like, I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. It kind of all correlates. And sometimes it it's like for someone like me who has control issues at times. Sometimes it's like, okay, you know what? It's the universe. It helps me to just like go a little bit sometimes, which is appreciated. But yeah, I mean, why, people get into human design and all of that, but I think astrology is like just more fun. And um, I've been getting more into like the different aspects as we've been working and talking, and I'm like, huh, that makes sense. I am a romantic. My head is up in the clouds. I guess that does make sense. I'm very like one way with work, but when it comes to like finding a boyfriend, I'm like, I want to know you're obsessed with me.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh, okay, that part makes sense. So
I
it's
love
interesting to kind of see yourself from a planet's perspective sometimes.
I love that so much. I love that so much. That makes me so happy to hear. And I think it's so true too. I just want to point out what you said in terms of the control issues, because I know for myself, I feel that as well. It's in terms of just understanding and getting into astrology was like, oh, actually, I can just let this go now because it's not up to me. I'm just gonna give this to
Yeah.
the universe.
Yeah.
I did what I could. I would have meet it halfway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a relief sometimes too, because you're just like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go with the flow now.
Especially when they have like the fatigues, because that happens. Like I definitely notice my sleep gets very off around full moons. I'm like, yeah, why can't I sleep? I think like
Yes.
this eclipse season or whatever, I was like, I'm so tired. Like I was just exhausted for 2 weeks straight. And I was like, I know I'm dealing with stuff, but it just felt like so heavy. And then things started to feel different. And you're like, yeah, that's because I'm like, okay, all right, Tati. I believe you because I feel a little lighter. And like I noticed this when Aries season is about to start. By the time like Pisces season is over, I'm like just over it. Like I feel my energy start to come back. Like there's certain seasons where I'm like, ugh, it's not where my energy belongs.
That's
It tends to be the earth signs. No offense to my best friend who's a Capricorn.
that's fair. That's
I don't have too many earth signs in my life. They're wonderful, but sometimes I'm like dirt on my fire.
they ground you too much. You're like, okay, give me a break.
A little too grounded. I'm like, no, 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 please. I needed a little room to breathe.
I love it. I love it. And I'm curious, like, what made you decide to work with me in the Boldest You mentorship?
So we met like at the end of summer, and we met at a very interesting time in my life. There was a lot of topsy-turvy. And I just felt, you know what? You had such good energy,
Mm.
first of all. Like sometimes you meet people and they're like, I'm into astrology, I'm into spiritualism. And I'm like, okay, that's good for you. Like, you just kind of don't get the right vibes. Like, don't, nothing wrong against the spiritual folks, right? Like, I also am a little spiritual, but sometimes just the energy is not right. And you can just kind of feel that they're in it for the money because it's very trendy to be into astrology. It's very trendy to be this coach and that coach. And like, do you practice what you preach? Like, do you show up as the person that you say? And those are like the kind of energies and vibes I got from you. And of course, at that time, I needed some guidance with how to maybe navigate some of the changes that I was dealing with. So I think it all just kind of made sense. And I'm glad I went with the decision. It's been almost 2 years now that we've been working, and you've y- our calls have helped me through some very, very tough times in my life.
That hear that. Honestly, I'm so happy to hear that. And I completely agree because I feel like energy, I get a lot of compliments on energy, so thank you for that. I really do appreciate that.
You're like very sweet, and like you come across very genuine, and you are very genuine, like it's not just how you come across. Like, having worked with you, you are very genuine. Like, the things that you speak about, you talk about them. You don't let the fear of how people are going to perceive you to not show up as who you are. Like, you're unapologetically you, and I love that about you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I feel that even just what you said about practicing what you preach is so important to me as well. And I have seen that with other, you know, mentors, coaches, astrologers, like not practicing what you preach. You can see it from someone's energy. You can see it from how someone shows up and speaks out around, for example, a free Palestine, or how
Yeah.
someone speaks up about what is happening in the world, or how someone is just showing up and just putting on like a mask when,
Yeah.
if
I mean, we were like in this society where likes matter and view times matter and everything has to be aesthetic. Don't people get tired? Like, I genuinely get tired of that. I'm like, how, what? Today I don't feel great, so I'm gonna go out looking like a bum. It doesn't mean that I'm a bum all the time. It's just, sorry, I didn't feel like wearing a cute outfit. Like, it happens, right? I think we need to separate what is online versus what is real. And I think a lot of people are getting lost in the sauce. Like, they need to take a step back. The real world is not the one that's on our Instagram and TikTok pages. Like, what you're seeing is a glimpse of people's life. And for example, the same goes true for me. I've been going through a very rough 2 periods of my life, recovering from my accident and dealing with all types of things. And one of the things that everybody tells me when they see me is, oh my God, your videos. And I'm like, I haven't even posted a video like in so long, and I, like, I haven't even posted a reel in so long. I barely even show up, but when I show up, I choose to show up a certain way.
yes.
Like, you don't show up with your worst all the time. No one can, at the end of the day, at some point, people don't care. So you have to choose how you show up, but we have to remember that online is not offline. What's offline is what's real, what you see in person. And so I've met people from online in real world, and I'm like, it's not for me.
I get that so much. Yes, yes, and I love that, and I think the honesty in your social media presence too is amazing as well. And I love that we've worked together for quite some time, which I mean, I'm still mind blown that it's almost 2 years, which I love so much. And I've seen your growth and your amazing just perspective shifts around these last 2 years, because I know it's been a difficult time for you. I know it has been, but I've also seen your wins from the last 2 years as well, in terms of even though, it has been challenging in terms of your accident, you're still getting a lot of client referrals. You're still in a place where you're seeing the support of the universe and the work you've put in and how that pays off, and how much effort and energy you've put into your brand in terms of your strategy for your business is paying off. So I'm kind of curious, in terms of the Boldest You mentorship, what do you feel has been the most helpful or transformative aspect of it for you?
Honestly, the biggest one has probably been like celebrating my little wins because I love being an Aries, but sometimes when I don't feel like I'm the best, I hate it. And my competition is with myself. I always have to preface that because I don't care what other people are doing. I'm very much like, this is where I need to be. This is where I want to be. And if I'm not there, I failed. Like, that's how I am. It's like all or nothing. It's terrible. We need to change that. I've been working on it. So that probably for me has been the biggest win. Like, you've been very helpful in helping me remind myself that I'm navigating a very different situation than what I normally have been. So sometimes when I'm like, I only did these leases and whatever, and you're like, no, but those are great wins because you were literally at home not walking, for example. It's like, it's
Yeah.
like, you're right. I was quite unwell. So I guess that is a big win. So you've been really helpful in that. And of course, you've helped me with some of my brand guiding, which is great. Like just kind of helping me refine on the colors that I wanted to go with. That really still connected with, of course, my chart, but also me and how I want to show up. Um, but yeah, just kind of very good with grounding, because it's easy to spiral when you're dealing with stuff. It's again being like fiercely independent and fiercely on my own and always like on top of my goals and always on top of what I want to achieve. Like it would be the word I say out loud is getting done, like it comes hell or high water. And there's been times I haven't been able to do what I've said I wanted to do for myself because of my circumstances. And you've helped me to just kind of be accepting and okay and see the positive in the situation. So
I'm
yeah. Mm.
I'm so happy to hear that. I love that so much. And I personally have seen your growth more so around this emotional change within you, that I personally am experiencing your energy in a different way this year than last year. And I know that people don't focus on that growth, but I feel like it's so, so important in terms of business, because if you're able to feel more at peace, then you're able to rest more, you're able to just appreciate life more, have more fun. And this in turn will help with business for sure. I think people don't see that or realize that, but I feel like for you, it's been, referrals that you are still getting, which is amazing. And you're getting them
Yeah.
constantly because you do such amazing work and people see that and they value that. But I'm just kind of curious, do you think you can speak a bit on that emotional shift for you in the last 2 years? Because I know it was a challenging time for you, but how has your like mindset changed, or just emotionally, how have you taken care of yourself in a better way in the last 2 years because of
Yeah.
situations?
So, obviously, as you know, I was got into an accident on the highway, hit with an 18-wheeler, and luckily I'm alive. I've got all my limbs and everything. But I've been dealing with a lot of like just on and off stuff because of it, with back spasms and this and that. And it affects your mental health. It affects, especially again, I can't stress this enough, like I took a chance on myself to become a realtor, and it kind of happened at such a pivotal time in my career because this is already 2 years. And, I was like, okay, my business is about to grow even more. And then this thing, bam. And I kind of felt like everything was put on a break. And I was just like butting my head against the wall, like trying to do everything that I can. And your suggestions to do EFT tapping, even just kind of helping me become a little bit more consistent with journaling. But even just our calls, like kind of documenting those little wins that in the past I would never even write. Like I'd be like, okay, I got up in the morning, like, but sometimes that is a win.
Yes.
Sometimes that is a win, and we just need to remember that. So, like when I started, I said I wanted to really be online more. I wanted to post more and all of this. And I've taken a step back, and it's because I know that's not where I need to be right now, because it's not the best place for me. I need to be somewhere else. I need to do something else. So we've done that. And now, you kind of slowly come back. So you've been helpful in seeing that I'm still doing the things that I'm doing that are helping my business, or just helping me as a human being and as a person. Because at the end of the day, my business can be thriving, but if I'm not doing well, it doesn't matter. Like health is wealth. So just kind of like make me feel like it's all right. It's all right that we're not where I said I wanted to be, but I'm somewhere else in a different journey right now. And we're still making headway and going forward. So just again, like a little bit of letting go in some ways. And yeah, it's been interesting. But I think one of the first things I said to you was like I want to get back into my Aries energy, which I think is so funny because everybody's always like, you're so Aries. And I'm like, no, not quite just yet. But yeah, this year things have slowly started to shift, and I feel like more like myself.
I love that. I love that. And I feel like astrology is just coming home to yourself too. It's just a different way to come home to yourself, to know yourself in a way that you're able to love yourself more. You're able to prioritize your health because, as you said, health is wealth, and it is going to just have a ripple effect in your life in different areas of your life. May this be relationships, may this be business, but more so just being at peace with yourself is probably one of the best things in the world
Most
that I wish
important.
more people could
Like
experience.
most important. I'm like, honestly, the more I'm like learning to let go and just feel like it is what it is. Whatever's gonna happen is happening. I just have to stop fighting it. The easier it's sort of gotten. And yeah, the more I've just tried to focus on myself and my happiness and my health, like making that my priority, is just taking pressure off of other things. And, yeah, like luckily I had put in work before, and I continue to put in work, and my clients are kind enough to continue to recommend me and refer me as much as they can. So, yeah, it's just kind of reminding myself how far I've been, and that I have always been okay. And maybe this is not what okay means to me, but I'm still okay.
Yes, yes, I love that so much, and I just also really love that you're prioritizing hobbies that really nourish you and take care of you, and then just seeing your soul return chart for the year, it's understanding, okay, even if there's challenges, even if there's certain obstacles, right? It's tuning into what is working, which you have been this last year, which has been focusing on client referrals, just doing the best job possible and having it kind of just flow to you in amazing, amazing ways, which I love so much for you. And I'm kind of curious, what would you tell someone who's on the fence about joining the Boldest You mentorship for themselves?
I mean, if somebody's on the fence, I definitely would say, like, you've been amazing. I think if you weren't, I wouldn't have renewed for the second year.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Just
have renewed. So.
that is like 100%. I don't think I would have, and I probably would have just stopped showing up to our calls because, like, I don't like to waste my time by any means. I think you're just really attentive and you're very non-judgmental, and which I appreciate. Like, I think as a mentor, as somebody who's supposed to help navigate someone, you need to feel very safe and comfortable to kind of share what's going on, because we do get very close when we work together, because it's not just about work. Your personal life affects you, your parents, your family, kids, whatever. All these things can come in the way of doing whatever you want to do for your business. Um, and you're kind of really great at bringing it back in a way and making the person feel really grounded and like help kind of clear out a bit of the noise to see what's maybe the right focus as the next step. So I think you're like amazing like that. I also think you've given some really amazing books to read that have been really great in mindset shift, and even with the challenges that we've done a couple of times as a group, which is like what are the voice notes you would send to yourself? Like, here's a social media challenge. So I think it's just more than just astrology, because yes, that's an aspect of it, but I think it's really a bit more strategic. So if people think it's just like sitting there and we're going to read charts and talk about what's happening in the planets, that's a portion of it, of course. But you try to bring it back with everything else that you can apply. So I think, if someone, especially if they're trying to grow their business in an online way, I think you're amazing for that.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear that, and I'm just so happy it's helped you so much in terms of that, and just how deep it can go in terms of the different layers of it as well. And I want to just ask, how can people work with you? How can people reach out to you? Because I feel like with Toronto, people need help in terms of buying and selling their homes, and I really would love for people to reach out and like work with you one on one to help them take that journey to find their home.
Yeah, I'm definitely online. You can find me on LinkedIn, but please don't add me. I'm never on there. People like, I get people, I message you on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, wrong place. Like, even on LinkedIn, I think I have something saying best place to find me is on my Instagram, Homes with NAVEEDA. I'm probably the only one. Probably the very first person. Send me a DM. Even if I'm not posting, I'm online, I'm checking, I'm talking to people. Send me a DM. You can message me on Facebook, but really Instagram is like the best place. I'm on it almost every single day. But yeah, send me a DM, whatever it is, whether it's today or tomorrow you need help, or next year. There's no such thing as like, you have to buy with me today, you have to sell with me today. And even if you don't live in Toronto, you live, I don't know, in Mississauga, or you live in Calgary and you need a realtor, send me a DM. I have people all around the world basically that I could trust to help other people. And I've done that before, so if you need a realtor somewhere in the States, or you want to buy in Mexico, send me a DM. I'll connect you with someone that I know and trust. But yeah, Toronto and GTA, I'm here.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Thank you so much, Navita, for joining me for this interview and just to hear your story. I think it was so real and vulnerable, but also just inspiring in terms of just how you got into your industry. And I hope everyone just really felt how much you care about your clients, because I really see it. And I think we both share that in common in terms of our Cancer midheavens of like, we want to
Yeah.
be there, we want to support, we want to
It
like,
makes me so upset when I see people being taken advantage of. Like, it just bothers me so much. So, yeah, I do hope that people saw that, because I always tell people, like, I treat clients the way I would want someone to treat my family. And like, I give them advice the same way I would if they were my siblings or my nieces who are getting old enough to, like, go out and rent, or my parents. Like, I just kind of tell them what I would tell my own family.
oh, I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Yes. Anyone watching this, please reach out to Navita if you're looking to buy or sell a home, or even to rent. So please message her. I honestly just love NAVEEDA's energy so much. And thank you so much for just joining me for this.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. Like, it was actually really great to be able to share my story, but just kind of also share with you a little bit about how you've helped me in my journey. So I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I've been loving working with you. It's just been so amazing just to see your growth. So I just wanted people to experience this for themselves and just to really hear your story because it's so unique and it's so valuable. And I know people are going to resonate with your journey because there's so many people who have experienced very, very similar things. So if that's you and you're watching this replay of this interview, please message NAVEEDA and or me as well and just let us know because we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even if you just want to connect, just to connect, because something I said made sense to you, or maybe our values align, send me a DM. It honestly doesn't have to be about real estate. But like,
Yeah,
I'm always looking to connect with other people who share the same values and the same type of beliefs. So it doesn't have to be just about work.
I
Would
love
love to hear.
that. Oh,
Love to hear what your audience thought if
yeah,
they're curious.
yes, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview with NAVEEDA. Honestly, I loved that interview so much. If you want to grow your business using astrology, brand strategy, social media strategy, mindset work, and the energetic work in 2026, then you can apply for the Boldest You mentorship down below. I'll leave a link to that. Feel free to message me any questions you might have. And I'm excited to dive into your tarot reading for this week. All right, so the first card out is the Ten of Pentacles. I love this card. I think with this energy, this can be a week where you're trying to let go of your idea of what things have to look like, especially with your finances. This can feel as though you're reassessing how do you want to make your money? What does this feel like? And what are you doing to achieve this? I also see this card as a reassessment of connecting to your family values. Perhaps you're letting go of a family tradition that no longer resonates with you. You could also be in the process of understanding a situation from the past in a different way so that you can feel more stable and safe right now. So this looks like a card where you're doing some really deep reflective work on what feels like safety to you. May this be through connecting with relationships. May this be through your material resources like money or your home or your connection to where you live. This is a time when you could just be letting go of an old idea of what stability looks like to you and what your plans for the future are. So this is really interesting. The next card out, however, is the King of Pentacles. So I feel like that reflection period is going to really, really help you stand in your power. That reflection period is going to show you how you can be safe and grounded on your own. How much can you really celebrate right now already? And also, how are you building something for yourself? What does this look like to you? What I also love about the King of Pentacles is you could be having a conversation with someone about something that is great for you long term. This could be a financial opportunity, a job, this could be a promotion at work, this could be looking at what you want in a partner that feels more safe and stable long term. But I really see this more so as you tuning into your own power through grounding yourself, whatever that looks like to you. Perhaps that's journaling, going for a walk, doing a workout every day, or building a routine that works best for your health. This is the time to embrace that. The next card out is the Seven of Swords. So there's someone here not being fully honest with you. I'm going to give you a heads up. Someone's not being honest with you. Okay? And this could be yourself. I'm not going to lie because we have the new moon in Scorpio coming up, and sometimes with this energy, we could be lying to ourselves. We could be in a place where, okay, what do I actually want? What does this look like to me? Is this the best move for me? So I really see that a conversation is needed for you around this. I asked for more clarity on this card, and we have the Knight of Wands. So there's something here that is more fun, more exciting. I think the person who's not being honest with you, they could be someone who just wants to have fun. They could be someone you're dating who doesn't seem that serious, that honestly there might be some chemistry with. However, maybe they don't want something long term and they're not being fully honest with that. This could also be someone who is wanting to make light of a situation. I am hearing that message. However, I really see this as an opportunity for you to understand, okay, maybe there's something from the past that I still need to let go of, which I am hearing. I'm hearing that message from Spirit. But I also see this as you potentially reassessing travel plans and also not getting the full story or picture of what someone did on a trip, or not getting the full picture of what is needed for you when it comes to your creativity, your self-expression. So this is really interesting. I see this also potentially as a creative partnership. So more information is needed for you. So don't be afraid to ask questions. So the block for this week and the new moon in Scorpio is the Page of Cups reverse. So you could feel like someone's not giving you enough. You could feel like someone's not showing you affection. You could feel like someone's pulled back their energy. You could feel like you're not nurturing yourself in the way that you wish you were. This is the time for that. This is the time to really take care of yourself. So yes, we do have the support of nurturing community and also nurturing connections with this new moon. However, we kind of still have to take action on it. We still have to do some of the work, right? So this is the time to be honest with your feelings. This is the time to maybe step back and see, is this relationship good for me? Am I actually receiving in this relationship? Am I overgiving in this relationship? What does that look like? And is it a relationship that's really supporting me emotionally in terms of my growth? This is the time to ask those questions. I asked for more clarity on that, to how to overcome this block, and we have the Page of Swords. So there's something here where maybe it's not the time to have the conversation fully. If you're feeling that, then this is the time to observe. See what that person does. See what happens for you in terms of the situation. Take notes, and also know that it's okay to watch from afar. It's okay to ask for space. Definitely communicate it though. If you're in a situation where you're talking to someone and you need the space, it's okay to have the space, just communicate it if you need time to emotionally process a situation. But I also see this as you trying to reflect more on the past and how can you move forward in a more supportive way. So I love this for you. Just know that you might not get the full story just yet, especially because we're still in a Mercury retrograde. So keep this in mind. Your oracle cards are Yes You Can, which I love. So if there's something you want to do, if there's something that really excites you and you want that support, just know you're able to do it. I love this for you. Yes, you can. Remind yourself of this. You also got See with the Eyes of Love. So even if the situation is happening for you, even if you feel like it's a bit harder to talk to someone, or it's a bit harder to communicate, or you just don't understand why certain relationships or people are acting out, I want you to see them with eyes of love. This doesn't mean to let them do things that hurt you. This does not mean that you have to talk to them. this just means that everyone is going through something. The more you can just show love and empathy, even if it's from afar, even if it's setting a boundary for yourself or communicating that boundary, or just realizing that actually the most loving thing I can do is just having some space and really just giving that love from afar. That's okay. See with your eyes of love, because that's going to help so much in this situation, and especially for yourself too, because you also got to be clear about what you want, okay? And I think this is a really good reminder with this new moon in Scorpio, because there's something you're hiding from yourself, right? There's a subconscious belief. You could feel like, I do see new moons and full moons in Scorpio as sometimes there's some subconscious beliefs that can impact us and potentially self-sabotage us. So be clear about what you want. Take time to reflect. Take time to process. Again, this isn't for everyone, but whatever you want, it's possible for you, but you have to be clear about it. You have to be clear about what you're calling in. That is the important process of manifestation. And that is why during new moon and full moon rituals with the Moon Sign Creative Community, we get super clear on what you are calling in, what that looks like for you, how the new moon or full moon is affecting your chart specifically. So keep this in mind. Be clear about what you want. I love this for you. I really hope this helped. If you got this far in the video, please comment Rose down below. I'd love to see it. Please like, comment, and subscribe too, because it really does help me out. And thank you so much for watching, friend. If you want more support in your business to grow it in 2026, using astrology, brand strategy, social media strategy, mindset work, and the energetic work, I'll leave a link to the Boldest You mentorship down below. And if you want to manifest for the new moon in Scorpio, I'll leave a link to the Moon Sign Creative Community down below. Thank you so much for watching, friend, and just remember, the universe has your back, and with peace and love, take care.